So today we're going to be talking about diffusion. So let's start off with thinking about what we know already. So diffusion is basically when we're thinking about particles in a liquid or in a gas, and these particles are moving continuously. And as a result of this, particles will spread themselves out evenly throughout this substance, so this liquid or this gas. And if there is a situation where particles of a substance are higher in concentration, they will move from this region to where they are lower in concentration. So here's the exact definition of diffusion. Diffusion is the spreading out of particles of a gas or of any substance in solution. And this results in a net movement. So when we talk about net movement, we mean overall movement of particles. And the particles move from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. So we can also call this moving down a concentration gradient. And this takes place because of the random movement of particles. And as particles move around, they bump into each other, causing them to move around even more. Actually, particles move in both directions, but the net movement, so the overall movement, will be from a high to a low concentration. And then they will eventually evenly spread, but still continue to move. So here we've got a diagram of spraying perfume in a room. So the perfume is gas. And then here we've got another diagram which shows purple potassium permanganate, which is diffused in water. So we can see that this process is the same in liquid. And we can see that the purple color has been spread throughout the whole cylinder. So, like we said earlier, talking about diffusion, there's a few different ways that we can speed up the rate of diffusion. Firstly is the difference in concentration. So in general, the greater the difference in concentration, the faster the rate of diffusion. And when we talk about difference in concentration, we mean how much particles are in a specific area, because this will affect the concentration gradient. So it would have a steeper concentration gradient. Next is temperature. An increase in temperature means that the particles in the liquid or in the gas will move around more quickly. And when this happens, diffusion takes place faster, as random movement of particles speeds up. Another way to speed up diffusion would be through stirring or agitation or mixing. They all mean the same thing. So on the bottom right, we've got a diagram of a hot chocolate. So imagine you're putting your hot chocolate powder into the milk. How can we make the hot chocolate smoother, more even? We would stir it with a spoon. Next is thinking about surface area. So this is about the surface area of the membrane. So for example, if we're trying to pass a gas through a cell, if the cell had a larger surface area, then the rate of diffusion for the gas would be faster. So diffusion can occur in single-celled animals, and this is because they have a relatively large surface area to volume ratio. And this transport through diffusion is sufficient for them to meet the needs. However, diffusion is not enough for animals, for example, humans, and this is because we are so big and we're not able to obtain all of our nutrients through diffusion. So to recap this, here we've got a question, and it says, this question is about cells. Which diagram shows oxygen moving by diffusion? And there's 3 different options. So pause the video now and take a guess as to what the answer is. So earlier we said that diffusion is talking about the net movement of particles from an area of high to low concentration. So where we've got a high concentration of oxygen, the gas, is in the outside of the first cell. And then the arrow shows that the oxygen is going into the cell, and the cell on the inside has a low concentration of oxygen. So therefore, the correct answer would be the first cell. This next question is talking about the definition of diffusion. So pause the video now and take a guess as to which answer it is. So the answer is actually the movement of particles from a high concentration to a low concentration. So that should be the first answer. And that's it for talking about rate of diffusion.